Breaking news from Taylor Swift.
I really didn't think we would have to talk about Taylor Swift 2 days in a row, but here we are. A wild debate night, Taylor Swift breaks her silence on the 2024 election, and a non-binary TikToker fakes a hate crime. All this and so much more is coming up on today's episode of the Brad vs. Everyone podcast, my daily show where I take on the craziest ideas from across the internet and across our politics, all from a center-right, independent perspective. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing and sticking around, and regardless, do hit that like button as we go along to reward my suffering through the depths of stupidity we deal with on this show, and do comment with your thoughts. I do read the comments, and I pick a few to respond to in every episode. Plus, if you leave your comment with a super chat or a super thanks, I'll definitely read it on tomorrow's show. So first, just a quick note on last night's crazy presidential debate that I'm sure many of you watched between Kamala and Trump. I watched it as well a little bit after the fact on my way home from some stuff last night, and then I got up this morning early to do a hit to discuss it on the cable news station News Nation. And my take, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But yeah, I thought it was really quite biased in Kamala's favor. The moderators were super tough on Trump, but not so tough on Kamala when she lied about things like Project 2025, the Very Fine People hoax, the bloodbath false statement, misstatements about abortion, and so many other things. They didn't really have that same energy for her, so that really was unfair and did rub me the wrong way. But yeah, I thought Trump dropped the ball. I thought he was all over the place and rambly and really failed to execute the many, many critiques of Kamala that they're just waiting to be had. And so I think it was a missed opportunity for him, but more than anything, I really think it was kind of a nothing burger of a night, nothing game-changing like the last debate for sure. But two huge political stories happened in just one night, because not only was there the debate making a ton of waves, but then right after, and this timing certainly wasn't a coincidence, Taylor Swift broke her silence about the 2024 election and formally endorsed Kamala Harris. Let's check out some local news coverage.
I never thought I'd have to say breaking news, something from Taylor Swift, but we have, in a political show, but we do have breaking news from Taylor Swift. This is from her official Instagram, just posted about 20 minutes ago. She says, quote, "I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election, as well as I've done my research," but continues to say, "Your research is all yours to do." She became kind of a hot topic in politics because she is kind of that global superstar. Never thought I'd have a debate breakdown where I said, let's get Taylor Swift's thoughts on the debate tonight. But this is where we are.
Yes, I mean, this is where we are. Welcome to 2024. This is fine. But in all seriousness, look, celebrity endorsements are usually totally irrelevant. They're just, I don't even care what these people say. They have no influence other than maybe throwing a little money to super PACs, but their actual endorsements sway basically nobody who some actor is supporting. I do think, however, Taylor Swift might be the one exception to that rule. She is a global superstar, arguably one of the most famous people on the planet. So her formally coming out and endorsing Kamala is at least noteworthy, right? It might have some impact on the margins. And that's why I wanted to look at it and discuss it. I'm not surprised. We've known she doesn't like Trump. She is more liberal. This has been clear for many years, although she hasn't been super overt or over the top in her political activism. So I'm really not surprised to see her come out and do this. I did think the timing was a bit off, because if you wanted your endorsement to make an ultimate impact, like a big splash, I wouldn't do it right after a debate when everyone's already paying attention to something else. Maybe she's kind of hoping it will go under the radar. I don't know, because it seems to me the timing there is not well timed for maximum impact or news attention being paid to the endorsement, but also the endorsement itself, her rationale and her reasoning. Look, everybody has the right to vote whoever they want. I'm not supporting one candidate or the other in this election, and I'm not telling anybody how to vote. But she cited a couple issues that didn't make much sense to me for why somebody would support Kamala over Trump. She talked about IVF, in vitro fertilization, fertility treatment, but Trump is pro-IVF, and so is JD Vance. So there's really not actually a ton of daylight between them on that issue. So bringing that up didn't make a lot of sense to me. In the same way, she brought up LGBTQ rights. But Trump is pro-gay. He's pro-gay marriage. So gay rights aren't a super relevant issue this election cycle. The real issue then that divides the two is just trans rights and things like, should trans women who are biologically male compete in women's sports? And should minors get irreversible sex changes? These kinds of things. And I guess I'm not shocked, but it's really quite something if kids being able to medically transition is one of your top issues. Like, I can't relate to you on that one, Taylor. I simply cannot. I can't imagine even supporting that at all, let alone having it be like one of my top deal breaker issues. She also, of course, cites abortion, which is a complicated issue I know people do have intense feelings about. But I will even say, now that Roe v. Wade is out of the picture, it's mostly going to be a state issue, not a federal issue. So I would have liked to see her touch on things that affect more people in more tangible ways, like the economy, like inflation, like foreign affairs. But again, I guess maybe as a billionaire, those things don't affect her so much. I will say that her endorsement and her rationale was pretty measured. It wasn't bombastic. She didn't condemn Trump supporters or even tell anybody how to vote. And I did appreciate that. Of all the endorsements, it was hardly the most woke or the most insufferable or the most condescending. And it clearly wasn't really meant to rock the boat. So I'm not mad at Taylor Swift. I don't feel betrayed by her. I'm not going to be boycotting her. She's entitled to her opinion. I don't share it. I don't buy a lot of her reasoning, but it is what it is. And as for whether it's consequential, I think obviously there's not a huge army of independent, undecided people out there who are going to wake up and be like, well, now that Taylor Swift supports Kamala, I've got no choice. It's not so much that. It's that probably is a significant number in the thousands to tens of thousands of young people who might have the vote turned out by Taylor Swift, being energized and supporting Kamala. Not that they would go from liking Trump to liking Kamala just because Taylor said so. Not many people will do that, but some people might vote who might have stayed home. And she may be able to get several thousands or tens of thousands of people to actually get off their butts and vote. And in this kind of election with the Electoral College, an election can come down to just tens of thousands of votes in a few key swing states. So I'm not going to say that it's not consequential. It could be. It's not going to swing millions of people's votes, no, but it doesn't have to in an election that's likely to be this close to ultimately make potentially a big difference. And I do just want to talk for a moment about how some people on the right have responded to Taylor Swift's endorsement that in ways that are just kind of odd and don't make a lot of sense to me. So first, we had Megyn Kelly, who's going viral for this. And I actually like Megyn a lot. I appreciate her commentary. She's more conservative, more Trumpy than me, but I've always liked her. I've always thought does a good job most of the time on many things. But she did have this to say about Taylor Swift that I didn't really agree with.
Taylor Swift just endorsed Kamala Harris. Taylor Swift, yeah. She posts a picture of herself with her cat. Would you look at this? You can, of course. Like you can kiss your sales to the Republican audience goodbye, Taylor. Hope you enjoyed them while you had them.
So Megyn is supporting Trump, which I understand it'd be annoying to have a big celebrity come out against your side. But I don't think this take is quite right. I don't think there are very many Republicans out there who are currently fans of Taylor Swift and who listen to her music or buy her concert tickets or go see her who are going to stop just because she supported Kamala. Because you guys have to remember, Taylor endorsed Kamala and Biden back in 2020, and these people have still been fans of hers in the intervening years since. So I don't really see why people would turn on her now over this endorsement, especially because, again, it wasn't done in this bombastic way. She told people to look at resources, look at the issues, and decide for themselves. She didn't condemn people who vote for Trump. She didn't even call Trump horrible names or anything like that. She just said, these are the issues that are important to me, and that's why I'm supporting Harris Walls. And I don't agree with her logic. I don't agree with her rationale. But I don't actually think there's going to be a significant push to boycott her or stop listening to her music among Republicans. They already knew she was a liberal. It's been clear for many years from her Miss Americana documentary and other things. So I do think Megyn Kelly, in some of her pushback on Taylor Swift, missed the mark. And she wasn't the only one. I understand that people on the right aren't happy about it, but they probably shouldn't overstate the extent to which this endorsement is going to rub everyday Taylor Swift fans the wrong way. I think most of them would just move it on. I mean, if you're a Republican and you listen to music or you watch movies a lot, you're already used to consuming lots of stuff that is made or produced or published by people you disagree with. And you do get used to that. And you really only hold it against them when they push it in the most obnoxious ways, or they condemn you, or they call you deplorable or whatever, which isn't what Taylor's done here. And I do appreciate that from her. I also want to spare a word for Elon Musk, who I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he was joking, I guess, but he responded to Taylor Swift's Kamala endorsement, which referenced herself as a childless cat lady, dig at JD Vance, Trump's running mate, for his comments about childless cat women. And Elon tweeted something, frankly, creepy. I'll just read it to you guys. After the endorsement dropped, Elon tweeted, "Fine, Taylor, you win. I will give you a child and guard your cats with my life." So, like I said, I'm going to give Elon the benefit of the doubt and guess this was just meant as a joke, but it did not land well. Like, it came off creepy. No, she did not ask. Trust me, she does not want a child from you. I know you've fathered tons of children with a bunch of random women, but that's not actually something that someone like Taylor Swift would be particularly interested in. And it's just kind of odd to tweet at random women that you, I think, have never met, that you want to father a child with them, even as a joke. It's odd. It's not helping the right beat the weird allegations. And I just think maybe that one would have been better left in the drafts. But what do you guys think about Taylor Swift getting involved in the 2024 election? Do you care what she has to say? Are you going to hold this against her at all? You guys have heard my take. Now I want to hear yours. And do remember to hit that like button while you're at it. And now it's time for Brad versus TikTok, my daily segment where I take on the craziest ideas from the Clock app.
Pronoun of the day is slug, slug.
Today, a non-binary TikToker just faked a hate crime and then posted about it on TikTok for the world to see. Let's take a listen to this bizarre video.
Hi, Harriet. Have you ever been paid to be hate crimed? Well, I have, so let me tell you about it. Okay, so yesterday I was at work serving this family that was sitting there like the three wise men. And then all of a sudden, out of the mom's mouth, I hear the trigger words, non-binary and gender fluid. Oop! And quit is in session, and my ears are turned on. Let's do this. So basically, the mom was trying to explain to the dad what it meant to be non-binary or gender fluid. After a few minutes go by, the dad responds in the same way that every guy that looks like him would and says, you know, I understand where they're coming from, but if you're biologically a male or a female, that's what you are. And then I'm standing there.
Based.
On display. So after a little bit of time, I march up to my colleague like I'm about to tattletale on a kid that just stole my toys. And she's like, yeah, I hate to tell you, the entire time they have been referring to you as he or him. Great. So that adds a little bit of insult to injury. And before you ask, no, they didn't tip well. Anyway, thank you.
Babe, is the hate crime in the room with us right now? Because I just listened to your whole little rant. I listened to you popping off. And the part where a hate crime happened, my ears must have slipped off. My attention must have dropped for that minute. Maybe I'll watch it back and I'll check. Nope. Still no hate crime. I mean, this is so offensive to falsely claim to have been the victim of a hate crime at work when you eavesdropped on people, basically, who didn't even say anything to you and then got upset by words that were said about you and your imaginary identity. That is not a hate crime. And that is so deeply insulting to suggest otherwise to the actual victims of hate crimes, people who've had the crap beat out of them while slurs are hurled at them, gay people who've been brutalized just because of who they are or who they love, or black people or minorities who've been attacked by actual vicious racists in violent ways, who've had their stores vandalized and spray painted with slurs. Oh, you heard words that hurt your fifis at work. Get a grip. Oh my gosh, that is ridiculous and offensive and just really, really reprehensible to go claim that. And look, they're allowed to have an opinion on non-binary and think that it's not legitimate. It's a free country. They can think that. They can say it. They weren't rude to you. You went and eavesdropped on them and then got mad about what you heard, and that's kind of your own fault. They didn't say anything disrespectful to you. It doesn't sound like it, at least. And I'm sorry they didn't tip well, but maybe you weren't giving the best service, if I had to guess. I mean, some people really do just want to be victims. I mean, that mentality is so clear from this video, and I just can't relate to it at all. I just have no respect for that approach of actually wanting to be victimized, so much so that you would lie and steal valor or steal sympathy from real victims of hate crime to come on the internet and say you were hate crimed at work when you literally weren't. And also, how did you think this was going to go for you? Did you think people were going to hear this story and come out of it thinking that you were the good guy? Because I didn't. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just cynical. Maybe I'm cold-hearted. I have no heart. Y'all have to let me know in the comments. But like, I lost sympathy for you listening to this video. I really did. This person is a female, so it's actually funny because I think these people were even confused about the sex of this individual and thought this was a male person. This person, to me at least, is clearly a female. And what I will say is this is a free country. You are free to identify as non-binary and call yourself whatever you like, and I will defend to the death your right to say that, even though I think it's nonsensical. I think it's incoherent. I think it relies on faulty sex stereotypes and gender roles that are outdated and actually kind of sexist. I'll defend your right to say it and call yourself whatever you like, but you do not have a right to force other people to go along with it and buy into it, because the freedom that protects your right to call yourself non-binary, call yourself they, them, also protects their freedom to not call you that. And they don't have to. And by choosing to not do so, they are not brutalizing you or committing any sort of crime against you, let alone a hate crime. In fact, if you were really secure in your identity, you wouldn't be desperate for the validation of strangers. And the fact that you are clearly so desperate suggests to me that you might actually know in your heart that non-binary isn't a real or legitimate concept and isn't actually coherent. What do you guys think? Did you actually feel sympathetic for this woman? Or like me, do you think she's basically doing cultural appropriation for hate crimes and insulting actual victims? Let me know in the comments, and do hit that like button to reward my suffering, because gosh, I definitely just lost some serious brain cells from listening to that. And now I'll wrap up today's show by reading a few of your comments from yesterday's episode. One person writes, I want to assure Brad, and indeed all of those watching, that 95% of us who proudly call ourselves Swifties are not like this. Believe me, as someone who's been a fan of Taylor Swift since the age of 16, this is not representative of the community at large. We are a thoughtful, respectful group, and we stand by the values that Taylor herself espouses. Yeah, I did try to make that clear. Maybe I didn't do a great job. I did try to make it clear that I was talking about a specific subsection of like hyper online and woke left-wing Swifties who are unhinged. I do acknowledge that there are millions of Taylor Swift fans, and lots of them are totally normal, great people with really good tastes in podcasts like yourself. Another person writes, why are people on TikTok so obsessed with race and politics? Please find a hobby. You know, that is a good point, and your guess is as good as mine, but I think it's partly because online culture has made these things a form of social currency, this identity stuff, so that's why they're so into it. Another person said, God bless you for rescuing an older dog. We need more people like you. Many thoughts to you and your husband during this hard time. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I guess I maybe didn't think about the downside of rescuing an older dog would be that they would pass sooner and you'd have to deal with the heartbreak. But I think I would do it again. I will do it again, just not for a few years. I'm not going to be ready. And by the way, guys, I'm not actually married. I just have a long-term partner, but maybe one day. Another person said, Brad, I'm sure I can speak on behalf of many of your fans. I'm so sorry for your loss. We all go through grief differently, and every loss affects us differently. If you need to take a day or two off to grieve the loss of Reggie, please do that. You'll feel better for it. And I think that it's better for the long run. It's a bit like a sports injury. Sometimes we need to work through the pain, but if it's a genuine injury, taking it easy or resting is far better than continuing to exercise and exacerbating the injury. Something I need to learn myself. Take care. Well, thank you so much for the donation and for the kind words, and I think I'm doing okay for now to just keep going and staying busy, but if I need to, I definitely will take a couple days off and relax if I get there. Another person writes, in regard to fictosexual, honestly, the Wi-Fi password community has made a bad name for those of us who love anime. These people are often seen with an anime profile pic like mine and go off. That reflects back on us all who love anime, which got me through some really hard and dark times. So anime holds a special place for me. I wouldn't be here today otherwise. We're not all like this, and a lot of us truly are sane and rational people. Though we may be an excitable bunch, we truly are decent people. Yeah, I believe that. Look, I got nothing against anime. I will say, I agree with you. The people with anime profile pictures on Twitter or TikTok or the other platforms are always posting the most unhinged stuff. So they are giving y'all a bad rap, but I have no shade for anime lovers, and I'll try not to hold those people as representative of all of you guys. All right, everybody, that is it for this episode of the Brad vs. Everyone podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me. Do make sure you're subscribed if you aren't yet. Do hit that like button before you go, and do comment with your thoughts on the debate, Taylor Swift, non-binary, hate crime pretenders, and so much more. And I do read the comments, so I will take a look. And if you leave your comment with a super chat or a super thanks, I'll definitely read it on tomorrow's show. And with that, we'll talk again tomorrow.